Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 169. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP. Sitting next to me is the king of wholesale.
It can't be 169.
169.
Wow.
It's more than that?
I think so.
I think it feels more than that.
It feels like it's 180 something, isn't it? Wait, did I go back in time?
We might be.
You went back in time.
Know. That's what it says. Jamil Damji next to me, of course.
How you doing?
Fantastic. And of course, our brother wants to be here, but he can't be here. He is quarantined to his 2,000 square foot basement. 2,000 square foot furnished basement. Morby, Mr. Subto, in the house. What's up, man?
What up, TTP? How you doing, brother?
How you feeling?
I'm good. I had this really interesting thing the other day where somebody says to me, how fast is it that you can generate a lead if you decide to start in wholesaling? And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. That depends on where your leads come from.
Yep.
And I have a story to tell, but Brent, I want to ask you a question.
Yep.
Are there 3 places where leads come from? I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean, most people start with free leads. I mean, listen, there are ugly houses everywhere. Right? And people own those ugly houses. So you need to have a conversation with the owners of a distressed property. And really, there's 3 buckets of distress. There's the condition of the property, the property's condition. There's financial distress, and there's emotional distress. And so those are the 3 main buckets that we go after to solve the problem. That's what we do. We solve the problems of property owners that are in distress. If they're not in distress, most of the time, they just put it on the market.
Yeah.
Well,
by the way,
where did those leads come
number
from?
187. I just wanted to
187.
Correct. It's 187.
It felt weird.
It felt
187
weird.
on a what?
Let's not say it.
Okay. So Brent, where do those leads come from though? Like from what I remember, there's types of lead generation. What are the types of lead generation?
3 types, right? One is you pay for those conversations. You pay for somebody to call you. It's called marketing. Right? Traditional marketing. We're talking about bandit signs. We're talking about direct mail. We're talking about pay-per-click. We're talking about TV, radio, whatever it is where you are paying to put your message out for somebody to reach out to you and have that conversation. The second way is referrals. It's building up a reputation that you are the person to go to when there is a property that's in distress, a property that needs renovation, a property that needs a cash offer. And that comes from real estate agents. It comes from other investors. That comes from family members. That comes from anybody in the community that knows what you do. And then there's the third way of being proactive and going out and earning those conversations by just picking up the phone or knocking on doors and calling people cold and having and initiating those conversations. So there's 3 ways. Number 1, pay for people to call you. Number 2, build a reputation and a good a network of people that will reach out to you when they know that there's a property that you want to buy. And 3 is to go out and earn it by picking up the phone, calling, and knocking on doors.
Okay, earn it. I like that one. That's really good. Okay, so this was the question basically. Let me just pop this up real quick. I'm going to switch us out. So you said that there's 3 ways to generate those leads, right? There's the paid, the referrals, and the earn, right? So I would say that this one, referrals, would take a significant amount of time, right? You could call, I think this is like, you could do agent outreach. I think you could probably get an agent deal. I'm going to assume probably within your first day.
Yeah, but I think that's the earn. I think earn with agents is you're
Okay,
still
cool. So
reaching
here we
out
go.
to them.
Yeah, even like
Referrals.
on market, I'd
Yeah,
still say is
for
earning.
sure is earn.
Yep.
Yep. On
Okay,
market
cool. All
is
right,
earn.
all right.
Bidding at the auction is earn. All those things are very proactive, right?
Okay, cool. So these are proactive things. Got it.
Yes.
So I told this person, I said, how fast can you generate a lead? And I said, in 1 hour, like a quality lead. I could have a quality lead in 1 hour. And they said, there's no way. There's no possible way because I've been trying to do this business for 2 years.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, it's called PPC or a Facebook ad. Like I could literally put an ad out, spend money, and I could get a quality lead for probably about 50 to 150 bucks in less than 1 hour. And what I did, and they're like, show me. I go, okay. So I recorded this, by the way. It's coming out as a YouTube video. I did this in an hour, and I got inbound leads coming in literally 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yep.
It is that fast.
You could go to iSpeed to lead and get it right now. You could go to Lead Zolo and get it right now. It just a lead is great. A closing is what gets us paid. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but I'm just saying that there's people in here that are like, well, I want to get started. Guys, everything in this business starts with a lead.
Yep.
So you got to ask yourself the question, do I have leads coming in? Am I talking to leads, or am I proactively going out and generating those leads? If you're not, that's going to be, would you guys agree that would be your number one problem in this business if you don't have leads?
It's the engine.
Yep.
Lead generation is the engine of the business. There is no momentum without lead generation.
Okay, so
and the interesting thing is
more information. It's not more information. It's more leads.
Yeah, it's more action. It's bringing the opportunities. It's looking at the opportunities. It's the doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and listen, education. We think that it's like you get education and then you take action and that equals results. That's the wrong equation. It is the action plus the results we get is our education. Okay. You can stay in theory all you want. You can stay behind a screen or behind a book or behind a podcast or behind whatever else. But until you go out there and actually provide value, which is you solving the problem of a property owner and that of an investor in your marketplace, you don't get paid. That's it.
Love it. Just answer this question real quick. This is going to pop up a bunch today. I've got a community challenge going on. Subto community has a challenge. And the challenge was I'm taking all of the YouTube income for the Pace Morby channel. It's about 25 grand this month. And we are giving it away to the regional areas in the Subto community that do the best meetup. The meetups will be measured by cheapness. I want cheap meetups. Our best meetups, in fact, are always a free venue. Jamil, what was your favorite meetup out of the last 2 weeks we were spending together, by the way?
God, they were all dope, dude. But DC was great. I loved meeting up in Philly, and all of it was fun, dude. But every one of the free meetups were way more cool because people were talking to each other. They weren't getting distracted by alcohol. They weren't doing other weird stuff. They were just networking. They were speaking. They were engaging with each other. That to me is the name of the game.
Yeah, it was great. We did a Columbus, Ohio meetup. About 300 people showed up. We did a Pittsburgh meetup at 11:30 at night.
Crazy.
That was crazy. We did a state college meetup.
Oh my God.
Taught at Penn State. Jamil spoke. He's a doctor at Penn State, man. Then we did Washington, D.C. meetup at the Lincoln Memorial. We then did Philly meetup that same day. We then went to Detroit. That meetup was insanity. Insane. We did Wholesale Hotline live from that, as you guys watched with Jack Bosch. That was a great episode, by the way. Jack crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finished it off with Minnesota. Did a Minnesota meetup in the backyard of a Subto deal. Great story. Real quick before I get to my point. Dorina, one of my students, she's a refugee from Ukraine. She comes over a couple years ago. and she couldn't get qualified for a house. So she joins Subto with her husband, who also from Ukraine. They, for 3 years, weren't able to get their own house. Now they have 2, which is great. And they bought them both seller finance subject to. And she bought a house in Minnesota that we did the meetup at. She told me this wonderful story. She said there's 3 families that she's bringing over from Ukraine as refugees. She is letting them all live in this house. It's a split level. And she's giving them a place to go because nobody would let them rent. Nobody would let them buy. And they also found them work. Now they're coming over legally, guys, just FYI. They're coming over legally. And I was just thinking, like, creative finance is the freaking coolest thing. But what was cool was having 300 people literally in the backyard of this house hearing this story. And I was just so ecstatic to watch this. But in the Subto community this month, we are doing a challenge to see who can do the most cost-effective, highest attendance in the coolest location. You mix those all 3 up, and we're going to give away $25,000 to the winners. There's going to be 4, maybe 5 winners of that. And so you see a lot of the Subto community doing really epic locations. So Dom and Angie Milanazzo in Denver, Colorado are doing a community meetup, inviting Astro, inviting TTP, inviting everybody to Red Rocks, where they have those big ass concerts. So you guys will be seeing this stuff. People will be talking about it, like, what's happening at Red Rocks? Yeah, I'm going to be at Red Rocks. Yeah, I'm coming to, I'm watching, all that stuff is going to be happening. So just FYI, a lot of meetups are happening this month, guys. Please, in the side chat, find out who you guys can go to meetups with, because the community is like really active on that right now.
Are we able to share the Subto meetup dates, location, for the hotline viewers that may not be in one of our respective communities but want to attend, want to make friends, want to do that? How will we get the information out to everybody so they can attend? I
will post the link on whereispace.com.
Okay, cool.
Tomorrow. Okay, somebody's going to go there right now and they're going to go, it's not there. I know. I will put it there tomorrow. I didn't know Jamil was going to ask me that question, so please relax. Christian Hernandez says Dallas, Texas. Carolyn and Myron are doing, they did theirs either last week or they're doing that this week, but for sure. Houston does theirs every Saturday, so they're going to have 4 of them. Okay. Joel Shipley, you got to connect with Carolyn and Myron. They do the Dallas meetups. Guys, go to whereispace.com. Okay. It's a Google sheet. Just go to whereispace. Stop asking in the comments. Okay. Let's do some Q&A today. What do you say?
Yes.
Love it.
So if you get sued, what does the LLC protect? Does it stop you from losing your house or car, or does it take your job checks? This is a great question. Lenny, what does an LLC protect? Well, first and foremost, an LLC is an entity as a standalone, which means they can't sue you personally. They can sue your LLC. Now, technically, they could sue you personally if they really wanted to. But how would they know it's you personally if you don't put your name on your LLC? I always tell people, don't put your real address on your business. Don't put your name on your LLC. Set your LLC up correctly. I have a really great YouTube video about how to set up your LLC correctly. Go watch that. If you get sued, I've been sued. I have done suing activities. I imagine, Brent and Jamil, if you have not been sued, would you say that that's a good sign or a bad sign if you've never been sued before?
If you've never been sued, you're not doing anything. You're when you do volume, when you start to do business, sooner or later, somebody is going to have an issue. And even if you're believe me, you do everything you can as ethically as possible, and still people will find a reason to be mad and try to sue you
for settlement.
It's America, guys. It's a cost of doing business in some ways.
There's really only 2 lawsuits that you hear about frequently. Okay, so let me tell you what those 2 lawsuits are. Now, you could come up with frivolous stuff, Lenny 1, 2, 3. You could make things up in your head, which typically happens a lot for new people. But the two lawsuits I see that happen frequently in real estate is a tenant suing a landlord for something stupid. Happens all the time. I'm probably, with all of our rental properties, I probably have 3 or 4 lawsuits going on all the time. They're stupid things. It's like, you rejected my pay. Like, we've had tenants that will bounce their check to us multiple times. And instead of them just admitting that they bounced the check, they then actually file a lawsuit saying that we rejected their payment because we were racist. Like, welcome to business, bro. Okay. This is going to happen. The second type of lawsuit that you'll get is you'll get a lawsuit from, I'd say, a seller. Okay. You'll get a lawsuit. I'm sorry. You'll get a lawsuit from, every once in a while, I'll hear about this. A homeowner who somebody text messages, somebody will send a blanket lawsuit for $3,000 and say, pay me my $3,000 and I won't sue you.
Because they're on the do not call list.
Yes. But what I found is everybody that responds to that letter and pays it ends up paying it. Yep. Anybody that decides I'm ignoring this stupid piece of trash, I'm throwing it in the trash, ends up not paying it. Because you got to understand, Lenny, write this down, my friend. Do you know what the cost of a lawsuit is? The person suing you has to believe they're going to win. This is the beautiful thing about the legal system in America. The person who is suing you has to pay money. They have to hire an attorney, pay a retainer. Most of the time, a litigation or a lawsuit is going to be taken out by a very expensive attorney. These are not just attorneys that give you advice. There's a lot of attorneys, probably 90% of them, that don't actually do lawsuits, just FYI. It's called litigation. Most attorneys, 90% of them, don't want to do litigation, okay? So in order for somebody to actually sue you, you have to go to one of the 10% attorneys. And those 10% attorneys who litigate, they're called litigators, they're going to charge you $7,500 to $15,000 to open and start a lawsuit before they do anything.
Yep.
So
minimum for a trial is $50,000, by the way.
Easy.
That's a minimum for a trial.
So when somebody says, I'm going to sue you, here's what I hear. I'm going to spend $15,000 to hire an attorney to go through a 2-year thing that's going to run me out of another $40,000 or $50,000 so I can hopefully collect $3,000 from you. Does that sound like something that really happens that much? It does not, guys. The lawsuit thing is a fake, scary thing that you put in your mind. I don't know. Do you guys know anybody that's been really like gone through the ringer?
Yeah, I've had so on the wholesale side, right? Just what the number of transactions we've done, we've had, occasionally you get a buyer, right, who doesn't understand that their due diligence was required and a necessary part, something they signed off on, saying that they had conducted full due diligence and they knew they were buying a property as is that was in disrepair. But I've been sued by 2 buyers who bought a property, ended up having renovations be over what they had originally estimated, and then thought they could sue me and then try to sue me to try to get some money so that they could, help pay for their rehab expenses. I had another one where there was a 4-plex I sold in Sunny Slope here in Phoenix. And one of the tenants of a building that wasn't even the one I sold, but a 4-plex in front of my 4-plex was stealing power.
Oh, you said Sunny Slope. I immediately pictured somebody stealing power from their neighbor.
In both of those instances, I ended up paying money, and it was just because I didn't want to go to I didn't want to go to trial. In the legal process, you have to do this thing called arbitration, where you sit in front of a judge and you tell them basically for the day what your side of the story is and what their side of the story is. And then the judge, their job is to pressure everybody in that room to settle that day. That's their job. The judge basically will tell you, yeah, you've got a good case, but you're still going to spend $70,000 on this trial. You should just write a check for 10 today. And so that's essentially what goes on in these arbitration sittings. And both times I experienced the same thing. A judge just pressures you to get it done. The one thing I wanted to tell Lenny before we moved on to the next one, bro, is that when you do have an LLC, regardless of if it's an anonymous, make sure that you are not commingling personal and other business funds in that business account. There's a thing called piercing the corporate veil. And
Yes.
if you can be proven to show that you are using business accounts on personal expenses and vice versa, then you can be sued personally. And then they can come and get your house and they can come and get your car. So make sure that when you do business, have your business LLC set up however you want to have it set up, anonymously, whatever it is, but make sure that you are doing things correctly and you are not commingling funds. That is the number one way how entrepreneurs get themselves in heavy caca.
Yeah, and I'll give you a good example of that. So I have two different holding companies, okay? These are LLCs. Both of these are LLCs. The only thing that these LLCs do is they own interest in other LLCs. Okay. So I have an active holding company. So it means anything that I actively make money on, that would be a fix and flip or wholesaling, I put in the active holding LLC. Okay. And there's tax reasons for this. Okay. In the passive one, so that would be, I own Airbnbs in this one, and I own traditional rentals in this one. Okay, that's passive income. We're not going to talk about passive income, but just let you know that that's where my passive income is held, is in a different holding company completely. There are no assets in here, 0 assets held in any of these companies. They are active companies with active income, but they have no assets. The assets are always acquired in different LLCs, the ones that I just erased, the passive ones, okay? So let's say I have a fix and flip LLC, and let's say that I have a wholesale LLC. If somebody decides to sue me because they're upset with something I did or said, because that is a possibility, it is America, it is a somewhat litigious nation, what can they get from me, Jamil? If I do not commingle my funds, what can you take from me if you do win a lawsuit from my wholesale company?
If you hold no assets, there's really nothing to take, right? That's essentially the thing. They will ask you to prove income and whatnot if you do get to that point of being deposed and having to have to sit through arbitration. But typically, here's what lawyers do, guys. They will search an LLC before they even take a case on, before they even allow their client to get to a specific stage of litigating. They'll say, hold your horses here, honey. We're going to do a search. We're going to do a search on this LLC, and we're going to see what assets this LLC holds. And if they show nothing, they tell their client, you're out of your mind. You're getting nothing from this lawsuit. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. This isn't going to go anywhere. That's the fact.
It's called a plausibility study. Okay. This is what all attorneys do. They look at your lawsuit and they go, is it plausible? Is it possible for us to go and find any assets? Okay. Felix Martinez. Let me tell everybody this. The answer is hell no. Okay. I'm not doing business outside of the great United States, my friend. I can't even handle 5 states worth of business, let alone 1 state of business. Okay. Jamil's over here doing 80 deals a month in just my backyard. I can't keep up with them. I have no time to go and learn about schmeckles, speckles, and rubies and buckaroos. And what do you guys call your stuff? Beavers?
What, in Canada? Loonies.
Yeah. Loonies and toonies. Okay.
Yeah.
We ain't going outside of the country.
A house in Canada's average cost is 485,000 loonies.
Here, this one's a good one. Ooh, this one's a good one. I actually have one of these. Check this out. I got sued for a financial elder abuse. The seller's lawyer believed this. Omar, remember, the seller's lawyer doesn't believe anything. The seller's lawyer was hired to believe that the property is worth $100,000 more. They sued me after 4 months of closing. Any tips? TTP student, by the way.
Yep.
If you use the proper contract, your contract will always disclose to a seller that you are in the business of making money.
Mm-hmm.
And your contract will state that you are going to make money on this property. That
Do you
is the
have a
purpose.
disclosure statement that you use, Pace?
Oh, I'll pull it
In
up.
the contract.
It's a good
While
one.
you pull it up, I'll read you the one I use. Buyer is an LLC in the state of Arizona in the business of buying and selling property for a profit. Buyer may elect to buy and hold, fix and flip, and or wholesale the contract during the inspection period at buyer's sole discretion. That's it.
Guys, my advice, if you are buying properties from older people, you need to record every single conversation that you have, every single conversation, and do not sign an agreement unless there's somebody else involved, an attorney, a family member, whatever. Make sure that somebody is in there, because it is that is the easiest one for attorneys to go after, is elderly abuse. They don't understand what they're signing. Right? That's their the calling card of it. And so you need to make sure, if somebody is older selling this property, that you do everything possible to show the whole process that you went through, all of the conversations that you went through. And even if you did that, they can still try to get you to settle.
Yes. You are correct. Okay, this is my contract. I've shared this 100 times. Okay. It is a great contract. I would say, in my opinion, the best of the best of the best of the best contract. Even right here, check this out. Buyer's marketing of its contract interest even gives you the ability, explicitly says that the buyer has the ability to list the property back on the MLS.
Who wrote this contract?
Sean St. Clair.
That's right, baby.
Okay. I believe the greatest contract attorney in the nation with real estate.
Yep.
It also gives you the ability to file memorandum right here. It gives you the legal ability to file memorandum on the property right here in section 12.6. Okay. Buyer's disclosure and voluntary agreement. Seller understands that and acknowledges the buyer is a wholesale buyer, which means buyer is an investor who in its discretion may assign its contractual interest in the property for a profit. The purchase price may not reflect the property's fair market value. Okay. These are important things to have in your contracts. And I would say that Brent is correct. Okay. This is now, I'd say 8 years ago, I was given this advice. It's even more true now. I record every conversation I have with a seller. Why? Well, don't football players, baseball players, basketball players, golfers, wrestlers, tennis players, even pickleballers, okay, don't they record all their gameplay to go back and
Review the tape.
Yes, sir.
And review the tape?
Mm-hmm.
This is how closers become great closers. This is how storytellers become great storytellers, is you listen to yourself. And man, I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than hearing your own voice 1,000 times.
Well, I'm telling you, if you're in California and you're working with elderly sellers, you better record everything. Now, I'm just telling you.
I think it's everybody, personally.
I get it.
Everybody. I even recorded a 30-minute conversation I had with the other day with a title company, because when a title company says, yes, I can do a subto VA loan, a subto FHA loan, a lease option, a wraparound, a Morby method, a Gator deal. I want to be able to go to their boss and say, sir, they told me specifically that they said they could do these things. I opened file with you, and now they won't let me do a double close. Right? Guys, welcome to 2024, right? People are, it's 2023. No, it's not. I'm living in the future, my guy. I'm recording every conversation, and I always have. In business, same thing. People go, hey, Pace, can we jump on a quick phone call? I will not be doing that. I will be doing that on a recorded Zoom. Welcome to business in 2024. When our transaction coordinators, okay, call a seller and go through and fill out the contract, Do you think they're doing that over the phone? Hell no. It's called Zoom, recorded Zoom. Have your transaction coordinator be a professional. Have your transaction coordinator get on a Zoom with the seller, walk them through the contract, and do it on a recorded Zoom. This will protect you in the future, and it will help you get better. It will train your team to get better as well.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Record.
But last thing I want to say, and then let's leave this whole legal conversation behind us. Don't let that scare you. Don't let that stop you. Again, guys, it is a part of the learning process. It happens. It typically doesn't happen until you've done a tremendous amount of business. And so when and if you do get sued, you will hopefully have all the money that you need to get it out of your hair. But don't let that stop you from doing business. Scared money isn't going to make any money.
I had a
And
very
let me
LLC.
think of a business. I'm going to think of a business just real quick that doesn't have the exact same advice. Hold on. I'm going through my brain. Nothing, zero, zilch. No business out there exists that does not have the same exact advice. Whether I'm an insurance salesperson or I'm a barber or I'm a this, have a camera turn on in your shop. Would you drive an Uber for a living without a camera recording everything in every drive? Hell no. If an Uber driver is recording every single drive that they do, why are you as a real estate investor, as a real estate professional, not recording and documenting your every action? Welcome to business, my friends.
Listen, you want to go through a lot of lawsuits? Get your real estate license. Get your real estate license for real. Because I'm telling you, the only time I've been involved in something like that has been traditional real estate.
Well, the other piece is
traditional real estate.
And why, even if you have no assets, again, this is the reason why, what Pace was saying, the plausibility study, right? When you have no assets and in your LLC and they can't get anything from you, typically nothing will get to a lawsuit. But why are real estate agents sued? Because they have insurance. You've got errors and omissions insurance. And that E&O insurance, that's the target for the attorney. They're like, oop, there it is. There's the money.
Guys, you know where else I record my conversations? I record my conversations when I raise money, when I lend money, when I borrow money. I record every conversation. Even right now, we're raising capital for a multifamily deal. My team, Brittany, and the team underneath her in the investor relations department, every phone call is recorded. We're talking about money here, guys. There's too much technology that's way too cheap for you not to record those conversations. By the way, Kimberly Fishbach says, can we have access to this contract? The answer is hell yeah. Okay. The answer is hell yeah, you can. I'm going to give that to you here in just a second in the side chat. So look for that in the side chat. The contract, I will tell you, is only good for cash transactions. I know I'm known as the creative finance guy, but this is not a creative finance contract. This is a real cash wholesale contract. So please remember that. There it is in the side chat. I would say I've revised this over the last 6-7 years at least 40 times. Every time I revise it is probably another $1,000. It has only gotten better and better and better. There it is in the side chats, this ugly, funky Dropbox thing. It's probably a $40,000 cost from me to you for free. So there you go.
Can I ask you a question, Jamil?
Sure.
This is a conversation I had with Gus Brown, right?
Yeah.
Frank West.
Yep.
And so he's a hard money lender. He buys a lot of properties, flips a lot of properties, holds a lot of properties. He told me fourth quarter, every single year that he's been doing this since 2010, I think it is. He says that there's about a 20% premium or a 20% discount that cash buyers are getting in the fourth quarter. Do you see that? Do you see them? Do you see cash buyers, like some of the cash buyers pulling back, being a little bit tighter, being a little bit like more aggressive with their negotiations in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, it's seasonal.
Right.
Because what happens is you get into the holidays here.
Right.
You get into Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, and sales do start to start to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And the real motivated sellers, the people with pain and distress who need to make the move, yeah, they will negotiate more. He's 100% correct.
But he's talking more the cash buyers are more aggressive. There's less of them. Like some of them kind of put things on pause, or they know like it's kind of like a secret code of fix and flippers and people that are buying that like the fourth quarter they can be more aggressive.
They'll get better deals. And yeah, even as the wholesalers selling them those deals, think of it this way: if there's fewer buyers that are pulling the trigger, because here's the thing, they don't want to take a property down in the middle of the holidays. They don't want to hold it for that time. They've got their contractors are not working every day. They've got people going away for holidays. They go away for holidays. There's so much wasted time and money in that period of Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Yeah.
That there's a great opportunity to get in there. And even us, because there's fewer buyers pulling the trigger, our wholesale fees compress. So he's again, when it's trickle down, right? The sellers are getting less money. We're making less money. It is a phenomenon that does happen every single year.
So us as wholesalers have to negotiate harder during the fourth quarter.
Negotiate harder. You're gonna sell for less. But also for the last, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, do you know what the busiest day at Keighley is every year?
Christmas, the day after.
26th of December.
It's been bananas. Like December has been, I feel like so many other wholesalers in town just like coast fourth quarter.
Yep.
And we pedal to the middle, and it's always our best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always feel like my wholesale operation picks up the last 2 weeks of December. And you know where those seeds were planted though, was the week before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Of course.
And everybody else, it's like, I'll bring up a friend of all of ours, okay? Because he's a really good depiction of this. This is not meant in a negative way. I just saw him in Puerto Rico, which is why he's top of mind. Chris Iman.
Yep.
Works his guts out all year long as a wholesaler. And what does he do? He goes somewhere warm from the week before Thanksgiving until the week after New Year's. So he's basically gone almost 2 months straight. And so the people that are coming up in the game, that's actually one of the best times to pick up the speed and lay down the gauntlet, because the Chris Simons of the world now it's their time to relax, as they should. They work their guts out. But the people that are coming up in the game, dude, that has always been my best time. Plus, for me, guess what happens the week after Thanksgiving? My CPA says, you have to hurry and buy $3 million of real estate. You have 30 days to close on real estate, or else you're going to pay taxes.
Yep.
Okay. Now, this is the first year I had a meeting with Molly today. First year in 3 years where I'm not stressed out. I've got $38 million in closings in the pipeline. I only need $16 million more to pay no taxes. So I'm like overkill. I'm good. Everything's great. But normally at the end of the year, I'm stressed out and I'm buying stuff. Even when it is breaking even on cash flow, I'll buy it the last week of the year because I'm like, I got to close right now. Otherwise, I'm paying taxes. I don't want to let that money go. A couple of good questions here. Meet Jay. So Pace doesn't do deals in New York. I do deals in New York, just not by myself. I partner with students in all 50 states, my friend. Guess what? We have about 500 students in New York. I'm going to tell you the secret, and I'm going to hurt some feelings. Most of those 500 are virtually wholesaling outside of New York, down to Florida, Texas, Alabama, etc.
Even Pennsylvania and Jersey are better. It's practically impossible. Somebody's going to DM me and say it's not impossible, but it's practically impossible to wholesale in Manhattan.
Yep.
Oh, Manhattan for sure. Like if you're in the inner workings, if you're like Ryan Serhant, you're going to get deals sent to you that you're like, oh, I can wholesale this. Manhattan is like locked down. You're not doing, I'm not going to penetrate that market. And I know a couple things. Meet Jay. We have 500 students in New York City. Look up Chris Jean-Baptiste. He runs a local meetup for the subto community, and Astro and TTP are always showing up there as well. Chris Jean-Baptiste lives in Brooklyn. We have a lot of students that are doing deals virtually. About 20% of them do deals there locally, but most of what they're doing is they're actually fixing and flipping. They're buying them, they're turning them into rentals, etc. Not a lot of wholesaling is going on there, okay? Other question, Laura Havlick. Great question. Look up your local laws, but I believe it's like 48 of the 50 states. You do not need a permission from the seller to record a conversation. So Arizona,
Called single party.
Okay. Arizona, as long as I am party to the conversation, I don't need permission. I don't need to tell them. They don't need to be aware. I can record the conversation. If you look on my phone, okay, let's do a little look-see here. Okay, you guys can see my little thing here. And I will show you where I do this. It's very simple. Okay, I go to my voice memos right here. Oh my gosh, that's so bright. Okay. Oops.
What are the chances you got a camera like this over your bed, bro?
Oh, I got one, dog. So I everything's recorded in my voice memos. Okay. The last one I did was right here. It was a couple of days ago. It's a 30-minute conversation at a title company. The one right before that is with a seller in person. Okay. Now, if I'm calling a seller as well, you guys will see this a lot. If I'm calling a seller from my home, which I don't usually do, that's not my job. My job was to build a business that doesn't need me, my friends. Okay. The only reason why I still get on phone calls with sellers is probably the same reason Brent does, is because his team might need a little bit of special help. It might be a situation that his team hasn't ran into, or maybe the seller has a question that strategically, sales strategy is better to say, let me pass you up the line. And it does a psychological thing to the seller to make them feel like they're getting the head honcho with the 29-inch arms. Okay. That's the only time I get on the phone call with a seller, unless it's a big multifamily deal. Then that way I'm on the phone with the sellers a lot, because the sellers are seller financing like a big $20 million asset.
Right.
By the way, can we get a bell for me, please? I just closed a $20 million multifamily seller finance deal. It is the first asset that the subto fund is closed on, $20 million in Tucson, 160 units. That seller wanted to get to know me because he's seller financing to us for over 10 years. I think it's either 9 or 10 years. When I do those calls, Laura, I hold the phone literally like this over my microphone, and I record myself on a solo Zoom. Now I've got that in video. Okay. Really easy, cheap, doesn't cost any money. Great way to do it. Okay. Oh, thank you, Rogelio. He says, congrats, Pace. Thank you. Rome Williams says, yes, that is an iPhone. They are the phones that can record calls. I think Androids, you guys will have that technology in 7 years or so. It'll be fine. Don't worry about that.
Hey,
there he is.
Also, can I get another bell? Just one more.
Certainly.
I'm buying a house 5 houses away from Jerry Norton on Lake Blaine.
hey.
Jerry's never, he can't get rid of me.
What a place.
Special. How's your deal going up in Canada?
Bro, thanks for asking. Canada sucks. I love it. I love it as a country because I have a baby there and I grew up there. But right now, Canada is not allowing people with foreign money to purchase property.
You're lying.
Even though I'm a Canadian citizen, the fact that my name is on American LLCs and my money is made in the United States and I'm not a permanent resident of Canada, I'm considered a foreign buyer. And because I'm a foreign buyer, there is an embargo against foreign buying in Canada right now for the next 2 years. So even though I'm a Canadian, I'm no longer allowed to buy a house there. So I don't get it.
What were you buying?
I was trying to buy a house so I could go visit my kid. I was buying this 2.5 acre property
house
out in the country, 20 minutes from my daughter's house. I had plans to go there once a month to just go and hang out with her for a week, and I can't buy the house. It's insane.
Now, can I tell you guys, at least this group of 650 people, this is why I don't invest in Canada. There's an embargo.
Because they won't allow me.
They won't allow me. Okay.
Bro, I'm a Canadian and I can't buy a property in Canada. What is happening?
Jamil, show me how good Canadians know how to comp a property. You want to look up a property in Atlanta, Georgia?
Sure.
Georgia.
What do you want?
Georgia.
Do it on here? I'll just do it on my phone.
Yeah,
Just do it on your phone. So she says,
Laurel, how much do they want?
Laurel, give us some information in the side
How
chat,
much do they
please.
want?
Can you
Like, don't
briefly
you-
walk through how to
give us some more
evaluate a
info here.
deal? I overthink when it's time to make my offer to a seller. So, Laurel, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everybody, Canadian or not. Okay. Go to Straight Outta Compin on Jamil's YouTube channel and watch this man freaking comp. Still to this day, I'm a 40-year-old man and I asked Jamil to comp my properties. Okay. Why would I learn how to remove my cavities if I have a dentist?
They just bought this.
They just bought it for
831.
for 120.
Is it just a lot?
It's a lot. It's a 1 acre lot. So we've got a near 1 acre lot in Southeast Atlanta, Georgia. It was just closed for $120,000. So now we know that the only use case for this is going to be new development, right? Because it's an acre. It looks like it's in.
Seller is asking $180,000.
Seller's asking $180,000. Okay. So
what did they close at?
Give it to him.
Let's see.
120.
Let's see
week.
let's see what's being built there. If there's any evidence of new construction even happening there to make you feel like that would be a good idea. So taking a look.
It was on the market.
There is no. Okay. So
They tried selling it in 22 as well for 150.
Guys, I have been saying this for years. Your job is to be a deal detective. Do you see how Brent is pulling out the clues? Okay.
So let's talk about what it would be worth. Okay. So I found the newest property that has been built in this area is at 346 Tonawanda Drive, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia. It's a 2.5, 3,500 square foot house that's sold for $455,000. Okay. So $455,000 is the comp. And that typically means that a builder is going to be trying to get that at about 20% of what they would be able to sell that final product for. So if $450,000 is the final sale and the builder wants to pay 20% of their value, it's $90,000. Okay, so Laurel, even when this buyer bought it for $120,000, they overpaid. And this $180,000 ask is atrocious.
It was on the market, Laurel. Like,
hey, Detective Brent. Detective Brent, what are the clues that this deal lays out for you that says this is not a deal? What are all the clues you
I
found?
understand. I'm real curious if Laurel can just put in how she got in contact with this owner that just closed on it last week.
She says that they bought a bunch of them and are trying to let them go. And I know she's choosing her words maybe a little bit suspect. Laurel, if somebody's letting something go, they're not adding $70,000 or $60,000 to the price they paid for it when it wasn't selling on the market before they bought it.
This is a wholesale deal. This is somebody who bought a property, closed on it, and they think they got a good deal, and now they're going to try to flip it. They're not selling the contract. They're trying to sell the they're just trying to sell the opportunity. Unfortunately, there's no opportunity here. There's an opportunity to lose money.
Yeah, I just, Pace, I look at it and I look at the history on it. It couldn't sell for 150 in 2022, right? Last year.
Correct.
End of last year.
Correct.
Couldn't sell for 150. And then they put it on the market for 120 and this group buys it. Okay? So they couldn't sell at 150 when interest rates were lower.
Yep.
Which means it costs more to build.
Yeah, and let's think about this, right? So right now for new construction, for that type of property, a 3,500 square foot house is going to need a little bit of a higher end finish. It's going to be $150 a square foot. $150 a square foot at 3,500 square feet is $525,000
plus 180.
Okay, plus the land at 120. This is a loss. This is a loss because the comp is 455.
Well, here's my opinion on this just for a second. You guys are all right about this. I think when you're brand new, you assume other people know what they're doing. And then the longer you're in business and you hear all these horror stories of these idiots. So here's what I see all the time. Please listen to this. This is not a one-off story. This happens frequently. I get people that email me. Okay. I had somebody email me the other day and they go, Pace, I've got a ton of money from South Africa. All my friends have a ton of money and they want to invest in American real estate. And I go, great. Here's some advice. You can always invest with us. You can go do your own thing. What do you think they do? They go do their own thing because they're trying to take fees off of their friends' money.
Right.
So they go and buy like 7 or 8 houses thinking they know what the heck they're doing. Then they get the construction estimate to fix up those houses and they say, holy crap, I'm in trouble. You would think that they would learn how to evaluate property, get construction estimates before they buy a property, or at least during the inspection period, but they don't. Then they come back to me 2 months later and they go, I'm in a really bad jam. Can you give me 5 minutes on the phone? I need your advice. And I'm like, sure. And I get on the phone with them. They tell me the exact story I just told you. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? And they go, I don't know. What should I do? I go, call your investors and tell them that you lost them $300,000. Guys, this happens frequently.
Yep.
And so when you see somebody buy a bad deal, don't sit there and go, wait, why did somebody buy that? They must know something I don't. Just wait it out. If I were you, one of the greatest lessons you could learn is watch this piece of land for 6 months.
Yep.
And see what happens with it. I guarantee you they're dumping that thing for under $100,000. They took somebody else's money. They're taking a management fee off that money, and they're going to lose the person's money that they borrowed or they're managing or whatever it is. It's not going to be a pretty story. Is there any other potential story there, Brent or Jamil?
Well, listen, it was different for years. We would see properties that maybe they put it on the market too high. They couldn't sell it, or they put it on for a couple of days, decided to take it off. Maybe it was too much action, or maybe they didn't decide. And then they put it back on the market later and it makes sense. That's not the case anymore. If somebody couldn't sell a property at 150 in 2022, they can't sell it for 180 in 2023. So, I mean, it's, and they just closed on it last week. So when you reach out to somebody, they're like, yeah, I got a great deal here. If you want to pay me 60 grand, I'll let you have it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This is why I love going after non-listed properties off market. They've owned it for a long time. It's never been listed because there is so much potential there, and so much that an investor's like, wow, I haven't seen this. There's no like stop signs or yield signs for your cash buyer because they're like, wow, this property has not been on the market for decades. This is a great opportunity. But if they see it on the market and it didn't sell,
yeah, well, then you got to have it at a really good price to show the value. You know, that is the drawback of doing on-market deals, is that you have to show what value you brought to the table. Yep. You've got a house listed at 100,000 and you go put it under contract at 90 and you try to put it out at 100. What the flip did you do? What value did you bring to the table? Nothing.
Marcel Weaver says, what advice would y'all give for a newbie with very limited budget and has a passion for real estate? I drive for deals for 5 hours a day. Marcel, my first piece of advice is congratulations on taking consistent action.
Get him, Marcel.
But what I would do is I would plug your cord into somebody else's socket and I would get their energy. Meaning, go join a team, okay? Look at Jasper's son right here. Jasper's son is somebody who got his first wholesale deal by leveraging somebody in my community named Tevin. Then Jasper joins my community and he goes and works for one of the greatest sales coaches our industry has ever seen, Daniel Quijano, good friend of ours. I think Quijano might even be in here.
He's here.
And Jasper has closed multiple deals over $40,000, $50,000 by being inside of Daniel Quijano's machine. So I would tell you right now, okay? I would tell you right now, go join somebody's team. Savannah says, Daniel, who is Daniel Quijano? He's right there on the screen. He's in Albuquerque. Don't hold that against him. We do. We hold that against him, but you shouldn't. Okay.
The land of enchantment.
That is very true. It is literally on every sign, everywhere you go. They want to remind you. Okay.
I thought it's where you get meth.
Savannah says, I'm
That's
just
what
kidding.
makes it enchanting.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
It's not until you take that hit, bro.
Sorry,
so
Dan. We love you, bro.
Savannah Blaze says, I'm on Daniel's team too. Guys, if you are in the subto community, Daniel Quijano runs the nightly dial. He is unbelievable. He's been a great leader in our community, good friend of all three of ours. We love that man. Find people in our communities that are doing deals and join their team. It's the easiest way to get a deal. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Very cool. Is the zip code there 305, Quijano? Okay, cool. Luis Ramos. Thank you for everything, guys. We closed our third creative deal. 2 more will be closing. I cannot stress how important being... Oh, okay, never mind. I did not want that to be a promotion. I just saw it looked like he had a question. I'm so sorry.
Let's ring the bell for them. That's $120,000. Let's go, baby.
Good job, Luis.
Good job, guys.
Good job. Okay, here's a good one for, I would say, Jamil. I think this one's a good one for Jamil. Any advice for assigning contracts on commercial properties such as restaurants, warehouses, office buildings, etc.?
Yes, absolutely. The advice is it's no different than when you wholesale single family house or a multifamily property. In fact, I've once wholesaled a bank. The difference is that you're going to be using a commercial contract to tie your property up. So your initial AB contract is going to be a commercial contract. It's going to have different verbiage in it. It's going to have different points in it that are more related to how commercial use, to the inspections that you'll be going through, to leases or anything else that may be attached or adjoining the property when you do assume or take over that property. And so there's going to be specific nuance that apply to commercial properties. And again, specific to the type of business as well, right? Or the type of commercial property. So for instance, if you've got a commercial property that has a restaurant, or you got a commercial property that has a bank, or you got medical offices, or you've got industrial, all of these use cases are going to have different nuance on how those properties are going to be used and the responsibilities and obligations that you'll be taking on by buying those properties. But the assignment of that contract is a simple assignment of contract document. It's the same one-page assignment you would use in single family. That's the difference.
Okay, but Lenny123 has a really good follow-up question, Jamil. All contracts are assignable. Yeah, I get that, Jamil. It's the same thing.
In some states.
But what if an agent is questioning your intentions and they say, we're not writing an offer until after you see it and you're virtual?
So, Lenny, another great point here. Agents will sometimes put that into their stipulations that we will not take any sight unseen offers. And I've worked with some agents who give you that pushback. What I will often say, and what is true for my company, is I appreciate that you want me to have seen the property prior to accepting a contract from me. But first and foremost, I've been doing this a very long time, and I can tell, unless you've hidden anything from the photos, I imagine that you are ethical and a very thorough agent. And so I imagine the photos that you put on the internet are very indicative of the condition of the property. I am very good at estimating how much something is going to cost by looking at the pictures. Now, again, that doesn't mean that I can come in with an unconditional offer, but I can't, in good conscience, move my trades, my inspectors, my contractors, my estimators off of jobs that they're working on right now to come and give me an inspection on a property that I don't have a ratified contract on yet. I'm sorry, I operate too big of a business to do that. We're not Mickey Mouse, and I can't do Mickey Mouse things.
Well, and that agent is tough for the first 30 days.
Right.
And then they start getting a little bit looser.
Correct.
With what kind of offers they receive if they're not getting any offers. So there's that too. Time heals some of that.
Yes. Yep.
Now, this is a good follow-up question for commercial contract. Guys, please pay attention to this. This is great advice, something I'm currently going through right now. Okay. Don't be surprised when the seller of a commercial property actually wants to talk to the buyer. Okay. Why is that? Because a multifamily property, let's call that commercial, right? Big stuff, multifamily stuff. It's not real estate. It's a business.
Yep.
It has multiple employees, long-term contracts. It has hundreds of moving parts. It is not like single-family real estate. So, for example, I've got a deal in Lubbock, Texas right now, $8 million purchase price, seller finance. As you know, I don't do any non-creative stuff. I'm repulsed by cash deals, at least for my portfolio. Wholesaling, do cash deals all the time. But for my portfolio, I want creative. So I've got an $8 million deal we are closing on in 2 weeks. Let's line it up with the two in 2 weeks, okay? It was brought to me by one of my subto community members. I immediately advised that community member, let's not do an assignment. I will pay you outside of escrow. Why? Why would I do that, Brent or Jamil?
Well, there could be a couple of things when you're talking about a deal of that size and magnitude, and all of a sudden now you've inserted a new buyer into the fold. You can create all kinds of issues for the seller in thinking this deal may not close. It can create some anxieties. You're going to need to do further inspections. There's a lot of things that could go wrong by inserting that second party into a deal. And for me, if I'm a seller of a 10 or, I mean, Pace, when you and I were in contract on that $12 million multifamily deal, when we had the option or there was a conversation happening about us wholesaling the property, immediately everybody's skin started to kind of get a little prickly and it got a little bit contentious. And so that's something that at that dollar value is going to happen.
Yes.
You're the end buyer, Pace?
I am the end buyer, correct.
Well, you're going to want to know all the information. You're going to want to know all the context. You're going to want to know who you're dealing with, all of those things.
Who's at the property?
Right.
What employees are there? Can I interview the employees?
Yep.
Right? All the things need to be known. And more importantly, if I'm buying it on seller finance, like Jamil said, don't you think the seller wants to know who the buyer is? And what kind of crappy situation are you going to put yourself in as a wholesaler on a commercial deal when the buyer says, well, show me your portfolio. I'd like to see your real estate schedule owned. The wholesaler is going to go, their butt's going to pucker and they're going to wait, what? Real estate schedule
you want to
owned?
see my calendar of what I do all day?
You want to see my calendar? A lot of things start getting thrown out on these multifamily properties, these commercial properties, terminology and vocabulary I had not heard of 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So we start having communication with the buyer, with the seller, negotiating terms, changing things out, going and meeting them. It's very clear to the seller who the buyer is on a multifamily property. They know when you're wholesaling. It's very apparent to them. It is very apparent. You talk to somebody like Vina Jetty, she says, I will never buy a deal with a wholesaler on a multifamily property. What is the workaround? The workaround is going to a buyer like me and saying, I'd like to bring a deal to you. I know that you're going to have to take it to the finish line. I know that you're going to have a lot of negotiation. I know there's going to be inspections and surveys and all sorts of things that are going to happen. I would like to learn, and I don't want to get in the way. I want to learn, but I also want to earn. So let's get an agreement that states that if you end up buying this, I get paid outside of escrow. Every big multifamily deal I've done over $1 million, I've paid the wholesaler outside of escrow. Okay. Smallest amount of money I've ever paid a wholesaler in a multifamily deal is $150,000. I do pay the wholesaler, but there are multiple ways to wholesale a deal. And what I find with most wholesalers, Rebecca, she says to commercial, can you still wholesale? Yes, you can. But if you're intelligent, you go to your buyer like me and you say, how do we work it out where I can learn from you and act like I'm part of the team rather than a wholesaler so I can see the emails going back and forth. This one Lubbock property, $8 million purchase price, we've probably had 200 emails go back and forth between the broker and my asset manager. 200 emails, no exaggeration.
Yep.
You will get completely overwhelmed as a wholesaler being the middleman on that situation.
Absolutely.
So what you do, if you're really smart, is you work out with the buyer. Here's what I want. I want to learn and I want to earn. I will sit back like a fly on the wall. Just make sure I'm up to date. Here's an agreement. Jamil, is there a type of agreement you could sign?
Yeah, what is the agreement that you would typically use in that scenario? For me, if I'm going to do something like that, we'd use like a marketing agreement, some form of binding agreement that I can send to title, so that I can take my. I know you had mentioned doing it outside of escrow, and that's I because it's you.
I personally would not do it outside of escrow. Just FYI, Jamil, I think where Jamil is going.
Yeah.
But because it's one of my students,
right, and there's trust there. It's
trust.
Totally okay. Yep.
But even then, I tell my student, there's a chance that I could die. Somebody could get confused by what's going on here. We close the transaction, and you're going, Pace and I said this, this, and this. Right. So we always do a JV agreement. It goes to title. Okay. If they are getting paid at close of escrow, because here's a good one. I've got a deal closing next week. Jordan Reyes, subto community member, brings me 2 RV parks in Glacier National Park. The agreement we worked out is he's going to stay on as a 10% owner of the property and get paid 1% of the purchase price. That's $63,000 on a $6.3 million purchase price. But he's also getting ownership. So we did a JV agreement that says he found the deal and he got paid $63,000 for finding the deal.
Yep.
The broker is going to end up seeing that $63,000, but that's above and beyond my purchase price that will go to Jordan. So it doesn't get pulled out of any fees.
Right.
So anyway, guys, I know that some of you guys are like, wait, oh my gosh, it's more complexity. Here's the reality. I'm going to be honest, and maybe Jamil and Brent have a different opinion here. Don't start with wholesaling multifamily.
No. I have the exact opinion as you do there, guys. No, don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah. I mean, multifamily is one of these things you get paid once a year. You get a big deal.
Right.
I'd rather get 10 deals in a month than one big deal in a year. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
it's typically
we're not talking duplex, triplex, fourplex.
Right.
We're talking above that.
Yes, and it's typically the reason why somebody brand new wants to go. I want to go assign a multifamily deal because they just heard you say that you can make $150,000, or the smallest amount you've spent or paid is $150,000. So yes, you can make some substantially impressive fees wholesaling commercial or multifamily, but it's so complex. You got to have good relationships. You have to know what also, when you are going out and prospecting for these types of deals, whether you're going direct to seller, direct to agent, whatever that is, okay, they're going to need to see that you understand what you're talking about before you're even going to get an opportunity in front of you. And that doesn't happen until you understand more of the nuance in real estate and really cut your teeth on these types of transactions. And so you're a 10,000% correct, Pace. Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, build the momentum. Build the momentum with single family.
So Netsu Salark, I think.
Netsu Salark. I think that's an alien name. Netsu Salark.
That isn't that. Right? I feel like they're trying to trip us up. So why would she never buy multifamily from a wholesaler? So you didn't pay attention. Okay, you didn't pay attention. What I'm saying is she's not going to let you be the middleman on the deal. She's going to write an agreement with you that says you need to get out of the way. The 2 big boys have to have a conversation. Okay. Vina and the seller have to have a conversation. Okay. The broker, I'm going to tell you, I talk a lot of crap about agents. Okay. Agents talk a lot of crap about agents. But in the commercial multifamily space, I can tell you they are a different animal. They are a level above. They are more savvy. They can sniff out when you're a wholesaler. And when you're hesitating on a deal and you're not communicating with them rapidly, okay, I'll tell you how I know this. If I go on Zillow today and I start calling real estate agents on Zillow, calling deals, right? I'm going to call 10 phone numbers, get a hold of maybe 2 agents. If I go on Crexy or LoopNet, I call 10 brokers, I'm getting a hold of 8.
Yep.
And it's their personal cell phone. And they'll answer on Saturday morning, Sunday night. These are completely different professionals, okay?
Yep.
We're talking about putt-putt golf versus the Masters, okay? So when you're sitting here And yes, I did just compare putt-putt to traditional real estate and masters to the multifamily world. They're much more savvy, okay? You don't want to be in the middle of that. I promise you, I've been in the middle, and I felt like I was just dropped into a river with the stream that was so strong, I had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? That is also a good thing, right? We want to walk into fires. We want to walk into things we don't know. That's how we learn things. But what you do is you go to Avena and say, I want to get an assignment fee on this, but not stand in your way. This is what most wholesalers do. They'll go to real estate brokers in multifamily. They'll go to Crexy or LoopNet, and they'll go get a freaking LOI, and then they start marketing it to buyers, and they say, buyer to pay 3% buyer's fee. You immediately just disqualified yourself. Nobody's going to do that. The right thing to do is build an established relationship. This is stuff I learned from Jamil, okay? You establish a relationship with your buyer before you go and get these things under contract. And when you go get them under contract, you already have an agreement with your buyer and say, pay me a fee, either at escrow or bring me into part of the LLC. There's 1,000 different ways to structure that deal. Shit, I feel like now I should do a whole training on this exact topic for like 2 hours. There's so many ways to skin the cat, but you're not wholesaling $100 million multifamily deal. It's not going to happen.
Nope.
And those big land deals that need the development.
Oh my goodness.
And they need to split up the parcels. Just stop. Listen, guys, let me tell you this. First of all, don't be intimidated by these commercial brokers and the levels and all that. They're leveled because that's their focus. Our focus is to find discounted property. Our focus is to go out there and build multi-million-dollar businesses that run without us. We can make more than 90% of those commercial brokers, without a doubt, being lowly single-family house wholesalers. You can do it. It's not like a who's more rich and who's smarter and all these things. They're just focused on a different part of real estate than we are when we're in the world of going after residential real estate. Okay, so just focus. Don't get distracted by all these big deals that you're going to make $1 million on and all this. You can do it by doing a bunch of other deals that you are really good at. So don't get intimidated by the different levels of the game or any of this stuff. It doesn't matter. We're all human. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. We're all going to make a fortune in this business if we stay committed to it, and it'll work if we do. It's an absolute fact. All right. Yes. And so don't worry about somebody having a better story than you at a barbecue. Who cares? Nobody cares. Just stay focused, find some incredible deals, be consistent, have the discipline to show up every single day and add value to the world. Just do that. Just focus on that, and you're going to live an amazing life, and you're going to create a real business that'll run without you. How long did it take you to build a business that ran without you? For real?
4.5 years, 5 years.
4 years.
Yep.
Oh, you didn't do it day one and just hire VAs to do everything for you? You didn't?
No,
you didn't just outsource.
How many years was I locked in the back office there comping 200 to 300 properties a day?
I remember I tried to take you to lunch a couple times and you were locked in a freaking closet.
Yeah, dude.
So it took you 4 years to get out of to exit out of the day to day.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, and you've got the biggest wholesaling business.
Yes. And all we do is wholesale for the most part, single family residential property. And we did over $1 million in assignment fees this last month.
But could you have done that if you were focusing on going and talking to owners that owned apartments and people that
not
owned
a chance
land? And no, you focused in on the bread and butter of helping other people sell their deals.
Absolutely.
Look at this. Look at this real quick, just to highlight that point, Brent. This gentleman, Hypocrites Roundtable, I think that's the name of his podcast.
Yeah.
He says, I'm wholesaling a 64 door motel in Indy right now, and it's taking 9 months to close. So Jamil could not have built that business by going, let me jump on this and then jump on this and then jump on this. That's not how it happened. You got good at building a conveyor belt of single family properties and focusing on solving one problem.
But it took you 4 years for all those relationships and all the partnerships, and all the systems to go in and all the payroll and all everything getting put together, guys. It takes years. It takes years. But I'm telling you, you keep your head down. And by the way, you had lost everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a little bit. You had bought some multifamily, right? And had that, and had some experience wholesaling some other for forever. I mean, it wasn't called wholesaling in Canada.
No,
it was trading.
It was called a skip transfer.
Skip transfer. But I mean, years and years and years. It was probably closer to like 15 years.
Yeah.
Of diligent work to really.
Yeah, if we're marking it from when I did my first wholesale transaction, yeah, bro. I mean, my first wholesale transaction was in 2003.
Right. But the process, the journey, that's the whole thing. We get so distracted by outcomes. Outcomes are a distraction. Like, just do your job today. Just do it today. Don't worry about all the outcomes. That's a huge distraction. Yes, have goals. Yes, track everything. Yes, be accountable to it. Yes, be around people that are doing more than you. But just focus on what you can do today. Focus on what you're building today and enjoy it. If this is day 1, if this is day 1,000, if this is day 50, whatever it is, just put in the work today and build a big, healthy bank account to where you can then go hire A-class people to replace you in each of the roles. And now you've got a business that runs without you.
I couldn't have done it by myself. That's the thing that Brent and Jamil, Brent has an amazing team.
Yep.
Jamil has Jamil and I have a partner we share. His name is Josiah in 2 different businesses. And Jamil also has an unbelievable partner that Jamil had to attract through consistent hard work, right? So Jamil was doing this for years by himself, and his consistency was a magnet to a gentleman named Hunter and another gentleman named Josiah. It wasn't just Jamil was a nice guy. He is a nice guy, but there's a lot of nice guys. Jamil was a consistent deal doer by himself, showing up every day. So when he meets these guys, actually, you guys met at a food kitchen, I believe.
Sandwich packing party, actually. We
were like homeless people, right? For
homeless people, yeah.
And these gentlemen go, they don't just say, hey, what do you do? And you go, oh, I'm interested in real estate. You had to have the answer of, I'm doing about 12, 14 deals a month from my cell phone in my socks. By the way, my socks are mismatched sitting on my couch. You had to have that answer. And that took years to get to that point, right? So you did consistent hard work. And the reality is, I look at people and they go, man, why am I not there yet? And I'm like, well, how long have you been doing? Oh, 6 months. I'm like, what do you do for your day job? And they go, no joke, this just happened to me, okay? Gentleman says, I make 180 grand a year in my day job. I'm like, okay, let's reverse engineer. What did that look like? Pay attention to this. This is really interesting. Took him 6 years to go to college to get a job starting at 90 grand a year.
Right.
Then through 10 years, he got raises up to his existing current salary of $180,000 a year.
Look at how much time was invested.
Yet, he says, why am I not there yet? And I say, how long have you been doing real estate? His answer was 6 months.
Yep.
Why is it that people are so patient to build somebody else's company, but when it comes to building their own dream, they won't put in 6.5 months?
Because they're focusing on the outcome. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. It truly is. You know? I mean, it's just
you're entitled to the work, not the result. That's it.
Build the momentum and stay focused. Build the momentum, stay focused. Build the momentum, stay focused.
Angie Milanazzo
every single day,
says,
do the repetitious, boring work every single day, and you win.
Angie Milanazzo says, Pace, do you use EOS or similar system for managing your business operations? Yes. Yet I will not touch them. I am allergic to them. I break out in rashes. Okay. It's the same thing with the restaurant owner. Does he have somebody take out the trash every day? Yes. Does he do it? No. Angie, I'm going to show everybody actually the upcoming mastermind I'll see you at. Angie's coming to the mastermind. I actually have this is the coolest thing. We figured this out about 2 years ago, Angie. All of our EOS and traction stuff, we outsource to a company for $5,000 a month. They run all of our level 10 meetings for us. They then manage all of our employees' rocks. So nobody in our corporate structure has to manage their rocks. You guys would know what a rock is if you know what EOS is.
Yep.
So $5,000 a month, they manage 5 of our businesses. They handle all of the EOS meetings, all of the traction meetings. Nobody has to do it. Not even Cody Barton, my partner, has to do them anymore. So yes, great question. Love it.
Guys, if you're interested in that, you can check out, I mean, you could just Google EOS, but Traction, right? Traction's a big one for EOS, is a book that you can get. Check it out.
Yes, it is so good.
I mean, I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like you, Pace. I'm like, this is great stuff that I never want to read again.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It puts you in a box a little bit. You know what I mean? It's
For
like,
sure.
yeah. But it's important to implement.
Daniel Graeber has a really great phrase here. Okay. And I was talking to Jamil about this the other day in the flight. Jamil, you and I had a great old time together, didn't we?
The best, dude. Honestly, that was one of the better weeks of my entire year. I enjoyed it so much. It was a blast being with you. It was a blast being with the community. It was just, the love was just on next level. Hanging out with my bro again after a summer hiatus. You and I hadn't traveled a lot together in a minute. It was beautiful, dude. I loved it. I had the best time. It
was cool. I had this conversation with Jamil at the Shinola Hotel in downtown Detroit till 1:30 in the morning. And I had this thing with Jamil. I said, every decision that you and I make today, and it has been like this for a long time, by the way, I make decisions today that I know will not result in a single fruit for 2 to 5 years.
Right.
And that is the beautiful thing about what we get to do every day. And people that don't have patience, okay, like Daniel Graeber, he says, today are the good old days. I'm going to look back on today and go, I'm so glad I planted those seeds. Even at my level, people have this perceived level of all three of us. Like, Brent's a billionaire and Jamil and Pace are borrowing money from him. That's not quite the case. He is trending towards $1 billion, but they assume we have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Everything in my daily life is I'm planting seeds, I'm hiring people, I'm putting in systems, I'm creating new things that will result in revenue that will change my life in 2 years or change other people's lives in 2 years. The problem is what Brent was just saying is people are so married to the result of like, I put in the work today. They think this is like mowing a lawn, right? That you mow the lawn, you see an immediate result. That is not how this is. It's much more like planting an orange tree. Do you know how long it takes to get fruit from an orange tree? Usually 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, 10. I was going to say that, about 5 to 10 years.
Okay, that's like only a couple fruit. Then you're at year 10 and it's actually producing a full harvest. So that's why people, they go and buy trees that are 5 years old because they're like, I want to skip the process. Guess what? Somebody still had to plant that seed and wait 5 years. You just paid them for it. And you still have to wait for the harvest. You still have to put in the work. So there are ways to cut the learning curve. It's by learning from other people. Yep. It's by joining a team.
Yep.
It's by being around other people that have already done it. You can take your 5-year learning curve and cut it. Like Jamil's learning curve. I see Michelle Garabito and other people in Jamil's community that took his 4-year learning curve and crunched it down to 2. Or even 1.5 years. Like you have students that are like traveling around the world. I don't even think they have a house to live in. They live in
Michelle and Paul. No, they'll make $100,070 or $100,000 in a month, and I think they're living in Spain right now. I'm jealous of their life.
Me too. So and then we were in Detroit, right? And we were hanging out in Detroit, and I was texting Jerry and Anne Marie, his wife, as we were landing in Detroit, and just saying, "Hey, man, I wish you were with us." And Jerry got his start there like 14 years ago.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. One of the guys I look up to, I know you guys look up to Jerry. I'm just so grateful to call him a friend of mine, and all of us do.
Yep.
Guys, 14 years ago, he got his start in Detroit. And all you guys are looking at is the orange tree that's producing all the oranges. You're like, how can I just skip the line and be that? That's not enjoyable. The enjoyable part is the struggle. Right? It's the fun parts along the way.
Why do you think, though, that the same philosophy or understanding that people have when they, go to college, for instance, right? We were in Penn State. amazing place. Like we got to see just the culture that Penn State has been able to develop from, you can see generations coming to the tailgate. Pace and I go to a tailgate, right, for a football game. There's like great-grandpa, great-grandpa, grandpa, dad, the kids, the babies. They're all
moms,
Penn
the
State.
aunts,
The
the
moms,
cousins,
the aunts,
yeah.
everybody's Penn State. You
Yep.
know, it's just like it's insane. And then I talked to one of the academic advisors there, who happened to be the husband of one of our incredible hosts, Mallory, a sub-2 student. And I asked him, hey, how many people in reality, how many people actually do what they came to Penn State to do?
Yeah.
Like, what their degrees in. Just give me it like out of 10. 2.
Yep.
Okay. Hold on a second. What's the average cost to go to Penn State? $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. It's going to cost me $250,000 to have a 20% chance of getting to do what I'm doing in college here.
4 years.
For
too.
4 years?
4 years.
Yet they go, bro. It's like they are lined up to go. They're all bright-eyed, and they're like, I'm going to be a sociologist. But this is like, why are you so willing to take that plunge? Why are you so willing to drink that Kool-Aid? Yet when it comes to doing something in entrepreneurship or doing something that could earn you your financial freedom, it's like, oh, I can't get this done in 3 months. I'm not doing that. It's a scam.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scam.
What is up with that? Legit though.
I don't know.
Why would it's crazy? You see how many people were in that stadium? 110,000 people were in that football stadium that all believe that conventional education of $250,000 on a degree they'll never use in their life. Yet, let's say somebody goes, hey, I have a $20,000 coaching thing that will show you exactly how to make blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to put a year of work in. Oh no, that's a scam.
Well, you know what I think it is? This is the problem of being an entrepreneur.
Oh,
the
my
problem of
gosh.
being an entrepreneur is you don't have a boss. In a classroom, you have a boss, right? There's certain rules that you have to follow, right? In a job, you have a boss. When you become an entrepreneur, nobody's making you do anything. Nobody. So you have to dig deep. Do you really want this? Truly, is this really the brain that you have? Is this really the goal that you have? Can you go through the ups and downs of a great day and a terrible day? Can you go through the days that are boring? Can you go through the days that are exciting? Can you go and be consistent without somebody saying, show up and do your work? That's the problem. We don't have bosses. And so people go, oh, it didn't work. Well, how much did you do? Well, I did it a bunch for like a couple days or a few days or a couple weeks or you go, they go, I've been making calls for 3 hours a day for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You have you been hand dialing? Yes. Let me see.
Yeah.
Go show me
Show me your tracking.
Show me it. Oh no, I'm using a dialer. Great. Show me your reports. Every single time I look at a report, it's 1/10 of what was described.
I know.
Bro, I did a challenge on my YouTube like a year ago. And I said, if anybody says that you've been doing the work of this business, right? Wholesaling real estate, fixing and flipping real estate, buying and holding real estate, whatever one you choose to go down. And you've been doing it for over a year, but you've been doing it consistent and you haven't done a handful of deals. Show me proof that you've been doing the work. And I will fly to you and I will be your business partner for 30 days. And I will pay for any marketing. I'll pay for this. I'll basically be like Marcus Lemonis in The Prophet. I'll come in and fix your business.
Yep.
How many takers did I have?
None.
0. Zilch.
Because if you're actually doing the work, you'll get a result.
100%.
It'll eventually.
It's undefeated.
Yes.
It's undefeated.
You'll either earn or you're going to learn.
In this business, if you talk to enough people and make enough offers, you will make as much money as you want. It's undefeated. It is undefeated. It's just that, it's that in-between time. It's that time where nobody's watching what we're doing.
Here's the piece, right? So again, while I was traveling with Pace, I really got enlightened on a few things that he's done in the community of Subto that I want to implement into Astro as well. His Avatar series, right? Where he goes in and he helps people understand who they are in the business, right? And not everybody can be the self-starter. Not everybody can do that, right? And sometimes you got to give yourself permission to join a team. Sometimes you got to give yourself permission to do a portion or a piece of the business and not all of the business by yourself, so you can cut your teeth and learn. And I was sitting there listening to him talk about it, and I'm like, that's brilliant, because again, if you are the person who needs a boss, that needs to be, that needs the accountability, that needs the structure, that needs infrastructure, that needs that, yet you still don't want to be beholden to building somebody else's dream, you can go join a team. And you can become a co-collaborator with somebody with a small group that can help give you infrastructure, that can help give you process, that can give you accountability. And then you're not doing this thing of entrepreneurship all alone, where you're like, why am I all by myself doing this? No, you can have all the TTP, all the Astro, all the subto people holding your hand and pulling your butt out of that situation and into the place that you rightfully deserve.
100%. 100%.
Batteries have to come included, though.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be on a team and
isn't it
not do
the
anything.
worst thing on Christmas when you got a toy and there was no batteries in it?
Yeah, this is a great toy. It's got so much potential. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
How many people are like that, though?
I know, dude.
They have all the ambition, and they have all of that affirmations, and they're pumped and they're excited. Go make those calls. No.
Yeah, it's
oh my gosh.
The Avatar series, I have 3 new avatars I'm adding to the series. We currently have 21. I'll end up having probably 25 by the end of the year, but some people just are made for certain things, like transaction coordinators, for example. One of the most slept on avatars ever. Another avatar you just brought up is working for somebody else. Like, that's an avatar, right? Like Jasper's son, that was his avatar. It was obvious that was his avatar. He's like, I go to school. I also work a day job. I don't have time to worry about KPIs, systems, any of that kind of stuff. I don't have time for that. But I don't want to use that as an excuse. So I'm just going to plug into somebody else's KPIs and their systems and their existing leads, and I'm going to cut my teeth on their existing leads. Homeboy goes out and he's probably responsible for $500,000 this year in assignment fees on Daniel Quijano's team, probably somewhere around there.
Amazing.
Okay? A lot of creative finance deals, right? He just got a true zero down subto deal the other day. Sent me a text about it. So he sunk his teeth in somebody else's business. Same thing as a transaction coordinator, right? Transaction coordinators, we have now, I think we have close to about 800 of them in the community. A transaction coordinator, somebody who's nurturing a great support system, great at doing follow-up calls, but not leading a team. And they go, dude, I want to make $150,000 a year working from home, or $200,000 a year working from home, but I don't want to do cold calls. I want to do like follow-up.
Yep.
It's a whole avatar. So the smart thing to do is join somebody else's team, get plugged into other people, squat up with people in the comments. This is why we do this live. Okay. If we wanted to do this for our health, we would get together one day a month and do 4 of these episodes back to back to back to back to back. But instead, we do them on Monday night, even when we're sick, even on holidays, and we do them live so that 650 of you guys can hang out in the side chat. Okay. Brent, Mr. 29. How big are your arms though? Really though? 29 inches?
I don't know.
How have you not measured those?
I'm calling them 19s. Is that too small?
I don't know.
There's no way there's a 19.
Too small? 19's too small? 20? You got 20-inch guns?
I'll bring in a tape measure.
Right, let's do that live. Hey,
easily has 20
we are at the end here, but I wanted to just really quickly say something. Pace, we lost a friend over the weekend, Jessie Lee Ward. If you guys are not familiar with I'm Boss Lee from Instagram, she was battling stage 4 colon cancer, and unfortunately she lost that battle. And so hold your loved ones tight today. And if you have an opportunity to send some positivity and some love, just in thought and prayer to her family and the people that she loved and that loved her, we would appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a whole section on her at the Limitless event in Utah this coming week. So I know I have about 500 community members coming out. I bought out a whole section and we're going to be doing a whole dedicated part of that event just to Jessie Lee. She was actually texting me about 10 days ago, and we were talking about getting together for dinner in Utah because we were both speaking on stage that day. And then next thing I knew, I got a text message saying she had passed away. So thank you for those words, Jamil. Thank you for the reminder. I'll never take a minute of my life for granted for my wife and my kids, and definitely not my friends. Brent and Jamil, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much.
Love you,
buddy.
Wholesale Hotline 187, guys.
We out. Love you.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say that thing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.